Hi all. In this particular segment, we will understand about this fundamental certification. SC 900 stands for Security, Compliance and Identity Fundamentals. So it's a fundamental certification. We have different, almost all the 900 series are fundamental only, like SC 900, AZ 900, right? So it's good to have it. It will build some security background from almost every facet we have across Azure and Microsoft 365 stack. So let's try to dwell further and understand how it is going to be and how you can what strategies you need to clear this exam possibly, right? So let me proceed further. All about exam pattern SC900. The difficulty level. When I speak about the difficulty level, it's not a difficult exam at all. It's a fundamental level exam and it requires familiarity with services offered by Microsoft Azure and M365 stack. You need to have sound knowledge on the use cases because there can be a use case driven uh, questions, right? And there could be scenario based questions as well in the exam. So this is a very high level overview, and once we dwell further on the exam domains which are key, we'll be able to understand better, right, what could be the type of questions they can frame. So the exam format is like scenario based questions, fill in the blanks type, match the following. An exam score we need to have is 700, which is usually common across all the examinations uh, in the Azure stack, right? So 700 is the one or we need to get or greater than that, right? Which is required to pass. Sorry. Now we have like around 45 minutes to complete this assessment. It will be 45 minutes exam. It will be conducted by Pearson. You need to all do it, and these are the key things here. And you will be basically, when you sit for this exam, you will be assessed for describing the concepts of security, compliance, and identity. You need to describe the capabilities of Microsoft Entra, which is identity provider from Microsoft. And we need to describe the capabilities of Microsoft security solutions. There are different security solutions. And I think this section, which is security solutions, is highly weighted in terms of questions which we are going to see. Then describe the capabilities of Microsoft compliance solutions. So these are the four things which which the candidate will be getting assessed for, right? With that, let's proceed to our exam domains for SC900. What are the domains? So with their weightage, I have captured like describe the concept of SCI. We have 10 to 15%. The capability of Microsoft Entra is 25 to 30% weightage, which means 25 of 30% of total 100% would be the questions from Microsoft Entra. So wherever the weightage is more, you need to prepare that section effectively so as to be able to clear the exam. The chances of clearing the exam would be better, right? So that is very important. So Microsoft Security Solution, we will discuss Defender for Cloud and Microsoft Sentinel and other WAF, DDoS related firewall services, right? That is the majority of section of or domain of this SC900, right? Then describe the capabilities of Microsoft Compliance Solution, which is 20-25%, which will be covering Microsoft Purview, Microsoft Priva, and compliance and other aspects, how they help us, like the information security aspect of it, right? That what I have done is like I have created a quick insight for each domain, right? Like this one is pointing to introduction to security, compliance, and identity concepts. And here we are uh, inclined to describe the concepts of security, compliance, and identity, which is making 10 to 15% of it, of the whole SC900, right? And the main thing is this is vendor or cloud agnostic. It is vendor neutral. So the idea of this particular session is very not dependent or not directly influencing the Azure side of it, but it is keeping things generic. And here it tries to describe the zero trust principle, defense in depth, and shared responsibility model where we discuss with ES, SAS, and PAS, right? Describing encryption and hashing, what are the different encryption techniques, different hashing techniques, and describing the GRC principles, right? There will be defining identity concepts as well, like what is identity, what is authentication, what is authorization, what are the key identity providers, etc., right? So this is a very generic section and it will be easy to start with. So start with domain 1 to when you start your preparation, and domain 2 is 25 to 30%, focusing totally on Entra ID. What is Entra ID? How will you describe Entra ID? What are the types of identities? What is hybrid identity? What are the management capabilities like conditional access policies? How you govern conditional access policy? Why you need conditional access policies? Describing Microsoft Entra and RBAC. RBAC for authorization. Now describe authentication capabilities of Microsoft Entra ID. So authentication. What are the key authentication methods? What is multi-factor authentication? And how will you describe password protection and management capabilities? Right. Then you have described identity protection and governance capabilities. So what is identity governance? What is access review? And what are the key capabilities of Microsoft Entra identity management and Entra ID protection? So all in all, this is an important section if you want, and here you need to dwell or build your knowledge based on the Entra ID aspects, right? So there's domain 2 which is making 25 to 30%. So 25 to 30% of the whole questions would be focusing on Entra ID. Then you have quick insight domain 3, where you have to define the capabilities of Microsoft security solution, making up around 35 to 40% of the questions which you are going to see in your examination, right? So here we will be discussing the core infrastructure security services in Azure, like distributed denial of services, Azure firewall, web application firewall, network segmentation, NSGs, ASGs, Azure Bastion, Azure Key Vault. And then you also have to deal with pure security services like Defender for Cloud. How Defender for Cloud works, what is CSPM, what is CWPP, what are the different plans available. You have Microsoft Sentinel for understanding SIM and SOAR scenarios and describing the threat detection and mitigation capabilities in Microsoft Sentinel. So don't think it will be very deep, but it will be very high level understanding of each of these services. How do they work? Where do they work? What are the key dependencies they need to work, right? And then it is also navigating to the Defender XDR, where we will see different services like Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Cloud App, Defender for Identity. These are all the Defender suite, focusing on specific domains like identity, endpoint, cloud apps, right? MDTI, right? So these are, and how to navigate to Defender portal. So this is making a complete domain 3, and most of the questions in your examination will be from this section. So focus effectively on this section, and I'll be also sharing you the content which you can refer to effectively prepare for this, right? With that, we come to the domain 4. Domain 4 is actually focusing upon the capabilities of Microsoft compliance solutions, right? Focusing on the compliance side. So we have a service trust portal where you can see what are the offerings, what are the different templates you can download, what are the compliance we support. All those details are available in that portal. Okay. And then we have compliance management capabilities of Purview. Purview is important, which is a governance tool, right? It will describe Microsoft Purview portal, describe compliance manager, what is the compliance manager does, and describe the uses and benefits of compliance score. So when I say compliance score, it is pointing to M365 compliance score, right? And it generates on the Purview portal. Then describing protection like data lifecycle, data governance capabilities, and then slowly moving to e-discovery, audit, and capabilities in Microsoft Purview. So this will be covering the preview as well as preview part, and this is the niche segment. But I need to say that Entra ID and other security services related to a specific domains are there for a time, and you might be aware of them. But this segment would be newer and would require special effort. Specifically, if you tend to dwell further, you will be getting more understanding. So, and it is making up a 20-25% part. So make sure you prepare it good. Now, with that, I come to the last segment of this particular SC900 preparation for exam strategy. I've clubbed down all the important resources and question banks which you can leverage to appear confidently in this examination and clear it. You have Microsoft Learn documentation, which approximately will take 7 days, considering you are giving 4 to 5 days every day, possibly or 3 days of part time or 2 hours every day. Or then there's a study guide. Study guide is just go through the study guide. It is very important for you to understand the study guide gives you a whole lot of information which is important for you to appear for the examination. I've also captured a free test which is available to us from Microsoft only. These are all Microsoft supported one. There are like around 51 questions which you can leverage to check where do you stand and to strengthen your preparation further. And must visit before your exam is that once you're planning for a night before or maybe 2 days before your exam, you can plan to go through this LinkedIn Learning, which is around 3 hours course on SC900, or you can visit through this SC900 exam crams. Exam cram is with John Savile, and it's approximately 2 hours content. I've also clubbed SC900 quiz, which is around 91 questions again for you to check where do you stand before examination. Even WizLab has a few questions which you can go through. So all in all, this content maybe must visit before examination would help you to prepare in a way with which you will be able to clear the examination effectively. I'm good to take any questions now. Thank you for listening. Thank you.